the season 2 finale had already put these characters through enough. Jackie and Cole finally said the words they had been dancing around for 2 full seasons. Alex overheard every bit of it standing right there. And in the middle of that heartbreak, George collapsed and was rushed to the hospital before anyone even had time to process what they just witnessed. That would be a brutal enough place to leave things. But the more that comes out about what's actually planned for Season 3, new cast members, a confirmed fate for George, and a love triangle that is nowhere close to finished, the more it's clear this next season might be even harder to watch than the last one, in the best way possible. Filming for Season 3 has officially wrapped, new cast members have been revealed, and Netflix has confirmed a release date, along with news that goes all the way past Season 3. So if you were hoping the Jackie, Cole, and Alex drama had reached some kind of resting point, it hasn't. Not even close. Let's go through everything that's actually been confirmed, starting with the character everyone has been holding their breath over since that finale aired. The way Season 2 ended made it feel like the show was quietly preparing its audience for one of its biggest losses yet. George collapsing, with no one certain how long it had been before anyone found him, was genuinely frightening. And for a while, it felt like a real possibility that My Life with the Walter Boys was about to lose its patriarch entirely. Thankfully, that is not how the story continues. According to what showrunner Melanie Halsall has confirmed, George survives his collapse and gets to the hospital in time. But surviving and going back to how things were are two very different things. And the theory here is that Season 3 spends real time sitting with that difference. A health scare this serious does not just resolve itself once the immediate danger passes. It changes the entire rhythm of a household, and Catherine, George's wife, is likely the one who feels that shift most deeply. Throughout the series, George and Catherine have functioned as the steady, dependable center of the Walter family, the couple everyone else could count on no matter how chaotic things got around them. Now they are facing something that is genuinely outside their control for the first time. And watching two characters built around stability try to adjust to real uncertainty could end up being one of the most quietly devastating threads of the season. Halsall has also confirmed something important about the show's broader direction here. She has said she wants to tell more intergenerational stories going forward, spending real time on the adults' lives rather than keeping the emotional focus entirely on the teenagers. George's health scare, and everything it forces onto Catherine and the rest of the family, seems to be the vehicle for exactly that shift. And it is a meaningful signal about how Season 3 might balance its adult and teenage storylines differently than the first 2 seasons did. At the same time, George's world is expanding in a way nobody saw coming. A new character named Hannah, George's own sister, is joining the story, and she immediately sounds like one of the most unpredictable additions the show has made so far. Hannah, played by Erin Karpluk, is confirmed as George's nomadic sister and the biological mother of Isaac and Lee, the 2 boys who have actually been raised inside the Walter household this entire time. Rather than raising her own sons herself, Hannah left them with George and disappeared for reasons the show has not yet explained, and she is described as free-spirited, which is really just a kinder way of saying irresponsible. The theory is that her return to Silver Falls does not come from a place of simple, easy reconciliation. Someone who leaves her own children behind for this long, only to reappear once the family is already dealing with George's health scare, likely has more complicated motives than the show initially lets on. It genuinely could go either direction. Maybe she has finally reached a place where she wants to become part of her sons' lives again, prompted by real guilt or growth. Or maybe, and this feels just as possible given how she is described, she needs something from the family rather than offering anything back to it. Isaac and Lee's reaction to her return is likely to be one of the most emotionally loaded threads of the entire season. These are 2 boys who have only known George and Catherine as parents in any real sense. Hannah showing up now, mid-crisis, forces an impossible question onto both of them. Do they open themselves up to a mother who left, or do they protect the family structure that has actually raised them all along? Halsall's stated interest in telling more adult, intergenerational stories suggests Hannah's arc could dig into exactly this kind of messy, unresolved family history rather than wrapping up neatly within a single episode. Now for the storyline everyone is still arguing about. The Season 2 finale left Alex in a genuinely painful position. From where he was standing, Jackie had chosen him. She told him she loved him, and he believed every word of it. Then almost immediately, everything collapsed. Watching him realize Cole is the one Jackie has actually been in love with the entire time was devastating enough on its own, and having to witness Jackie confess those exact feelings to Cole directly added an entirely new layer of trauma most people would need real time to recover from. At the same time, if we're being honest, the signs were there all season. Jackie's relationship with Alex always felt different from whatever existed between her and Cole. She cared about Alex genuinely. But with Cole, everything operated on another level entirely. Even during the stretches where they tried actively staying away from each other, that pull never really disappeared. So now Jackie and Cole are finally getting an actual chance to be together, and naturally, the writers immediately load another obstacle onto them. Cole is confirmed to be leaving for college, and honestly, these two cannot seem to catch a single break. Long-distance relationships almost never work cleanly in shows built this way, and there is little reason to expect this one plays out any differently. The likely pattern is a summer spent trying to make things work, followed by reality hitting hard the moment college actually begins. Distance changes relationships, especially young ones still figuring themselves out. Unfortunately for Jackie and Cole, distance is not the only complication heading their way. Season 3 confirms a new character named Elliot, played by Naveen Paddock, described as a charming new intern working for Jackie's uncle Richard, carrying an air of New York sophistication with him. Because of his position with Richard, Jackie will reportedly be seeing him constantly, and his arrival is confirmed to put her back into a kind of limbo between the old New York life she left behind and the one she has built in Silver Falls. It makes sense why the writers keep introducing this kind of tension. Love triangles generate drama, and drama keeps people watching. But after everything Jackie, Alex, and Cole have already survived together, there is a real hope among fans that Elliot does not simply become another device to delay Jackie and Cole finally being allowed to exist together without interference. At some point, watching two people who have earned their relationship the hard way simply get to have it would be its own kind of satisfying storytelling, instead of immediately introducing yet another complication standing in the way. While Jackie tries to move forward with Cole, Alex may finally be starting a completely different chapter of his own. Halsall has specifically noted that Alex matures more than almost anyone else between seasons 2 and 3, describing him as being on a real upward trajectory this season, turning to a new rodeo riding team as his focus shifts away from the relationship that just ended. There has also been quiet, ongoing chemistry building between Alex and Kylie for a while now, something that became noticeably clearer during their visit to her grandmother's house earlier in the show. With Dylan largely out of the picture at this point, there is real room for that dynamic to develop into something more, though this remains theory rather than confirmed plot, since networks and cast lists at this stage have not spelled out exactly where Alex's personal life goes beyond his rodeo storyline. Still, watching Alex build something for himself outside the shadow of the Jackie and Cole relationship, especially after everything he absorbed in that finale, could be one of the more satisfying redemptive arcs the show has set up in a while. Cole's future may end up changing for reasons that have nothing to do with Jackie at all. A new character named Mac, played by Chad Rook, joins the cast as a professional drag racer who hires Cole to rebuild the engine on one of his race cars. After watching Cole actually drive, Mac reportedly becomes impressed enough to recognize real, natural talent behind the wheel. It is easy to imagine Mac eventually offering Cole a real place on a racing team, or at minimum introducing him to a level of professional racing he has never had access to before. Netflix's own confirmed synopsis backs this up directly, describing Cole getting back in the driver's seat of his life quite literally this season. If this storyline develops the way it appears to be heading, it could completely reshape Cole's future outside of football, giving him an identity and a path forward that exists independently of his relationship with Jackie, something the show has arguably needed to give him for a while. One detail worth sitting with is something Halsall revealed directly. Jackie carries real guilt heading into season 3, feeling personally responsible for George's collapse because of how everything unfolded in those final moments of season 2. That guilt is likely to shape a lot of her behavior this season, beyond just the romantic tangle with Cole, Alex, and now Elliot. Rather than simply waiting around for her love life to sort itself out, Netflix has confirmed Jackie channels her energy into developing a community space in Silver Falls instead, which suggests real growth for her character. Someone actively building something for the town and for herself, rather than only reacting to whatever chaos surrounds her. There is also confirmed attention on Jackie's friendship with Grace this season, following a heart-to-heart in the Season 2 finale where Jackie admitted she had been taking Grace for granted. Halsall has specifically said she wants Grace to be shown having needs of her own rather than only existing as the reliable friend who shows up whenever Jackie needs her, which suggests a more balanced, two-directional friendship arc for both of them going forward. Halsall has described the very first episode of Season 3 as emotional and said that more than any previous season, this one is fundamentally about growing up, maturing, and stepping up to face real consequences. That framing matters because it suggests the show is moving deliberately away from pure teen drama plotting and towards something with real emotional weight behind every choice these characters make. Alex choosing rodeo over resentment, Cole choosing racing and honesty over avoidance, Jackie choosing to build something for the town instead of waiting on romance to resolve itself. If the show follows through on that intention, Season 3 could end up feeling like a genuine turning point for the series, rather than simply another round of the same love triangle dynamics that have carried the first 2 seasons. The stakes are already higher thanks to George's health scare and Hannah's unresolved return, and giving the teenage characters real growth alongside that heavier family drama would make the season feel earned rather than repetitive. There is also something worth noting about how carefully the show seems to be pacing its reveals. Rather than resolving George's condition, Hannah's motives, and the entire love triangle within the premiere alone, the confirmed details we already have suggest a season built around slow, layered fallout, mirroring almost exactly the kind of patient storytelling that made the Season 2 finale land as hard as it did. If Season 3 keeps that same instinct, the theory is that the most emotionally significant moments of the season are spread out deliberately rather than front-loaded, giving each storyline room to actually breathe instead of rushing toward resolution. It would be easy to focus entirely on Jackie, Cole, Alex, and George, but the confirmed returning cast list suggests several smaller storylines are likely to carry real weight this season as well. Danny Walter and Aaron Collins have been quietly building their own relationship in the background of the show, and with the main love triangle consuming so much attention, there is a real chance Season 3 gives their storyline more room simply because the writers finally have space to develop a quieter, steadier relationship alongside all the chaos surrounding Jackie and the older brothers. Dylan and Kylie's dynamic is also worth watching closely, especially if Alex and Kylie's chemistry does end up developing the way the visit to her grandmother's house seemed to hint at. A love triangle involving Alex, Kylie, and Dylan layered on top of the already complicated Jackie, Cole, and Elliot situation would give the show 2 parallel emotional engines running at once, doubling the tension without necessarily doubling the melodrama, since each pairing would carry its own distinct emotional stakes. Nathan and Will, the younger Walter brothers, along with Parker and Benny, likely continue functioning as the emotional grounding of the household. The reminder that whatever chaos the older siblings are dealing with, life at the ranch still continues around them. Given Halsall's stated interest in intergenerational storytelling, there is a real possibility some of the younger Walter kids get more meaningful material this season than they have in the past, particularly as Isaac and Lee's storyline with Hannah unfolds and inevitably touches the entire household. My Life with the Walter Boys is based on Ali Novak's novel of the same name, originally published on Wattpad back in 2014. While the show has taken its own path in several places compared to the books, the source material still offers a useful lens for thinking about where these characters might ultimately land, particularly around Jackie's central relationships and her growing sense of belonging in Silver Falls. The theory is that Season 3, given how far it has already diverged in pacing and character details like Hannah's introduction, likely continues to use the books more as emotional inspiration than a strict roadmap. That gives the writers real freedom to let George's recovery, Hannah's return, and the expanded love triangle play out in ways that serve the show's own internal logic rather than needing to match the novels beat for beat. For longtime readers, that freedom is probably exactly what makes adaptations like this interesting to watch in the first place. Familiar emotional beats delivered through a story that keeps finding new ways to complicate them. Since the Season 3 first look photos and cast announcements went public, reaction across social media has been a mix of excitement and genuine nervousness. Many fans have expressed relief that George survives, since the finale's ambiguity around his condition genuinely worried a large portion of the audience. At the same time, there is visible hesitation around Elliot's introduction, with a noticeable portion of viewers hoping the show does not use him purely as a delay tactic, keeping Jackie and Cole apart, especially after 2 full seasons of build-up toward that exact relationship finally happening. Hannah's casting has generated some of the most curious reactions of anyone new joining this season. Fans who caught the description of her as George's nomadic, absent sister have already started speculating about what kind of confrontation her return might trigger, particularly with Catherine, who has effectively raised Isaac and Lee alongside George this entire time. The theory is that this dynamic, an absent biological mother returning to a household where someone else has quietly done all the parenting, gives the show one of its most emotionally complex adult storylines yet, and it lines up directly with Halsall's own stated goal of exploring more intergenerational conflict this season. There is also a fair amount of excitement building around Cole's new racing storyline, with fans noting it gives him an identity that finally exists outside of football and outside of his relationship with Jackie, something several viewers have said they wanted for his character for a while now. It is worth being honest about the risk sitting inside all of this. Adding Hannah, Elliot, and Mac in the same season, on top of an already emotionally loaded George recovery storyline and the Jackie, Cole, Alex fallout, is a lot of new material to introduce at once. The theory is that Season 3's biggest challenge is not coming up with enough drama. Clearly, there is more than enough already confirmed, but making sure each new thread gets enough room to actually land emotionally rather than feeling like it is competing for screen time against everything else happening simultaneously. Halsall's comments about wanting more intergenerational storytelling suggest the writers are aware of this balancing act and are trying to address it directly, giving the adult characters, George, Catherine, and now Hannah, real weight rather than treating them purely as background to the teenage romance. If Season 3 manages to give every one of these threads, George's recovery, Hannah's motives, Jackie and Cole's relationship, Alex's growth, and Cole's racing career, genuine room to breathe, this could be the strongest season the show has produced. If it tries to do too much too quickly, some of these storylines risk feeling rushed. Either way, the confirmed pieces already sitting on the table make this one of the most ambitious seasons the show has attempted so far. Season 3 has an official release date confirmed by Netflix, August 6th, 2026, arriving as a full batch of 10 episodes all at once. But that is not even the most exciting confirmed detail. Even before Season 3 has premiered, Season 4 has already been greenlit, expected to arrive sometime in 2027, which tells you Netflix has real confidence in where this story is heading, even with all its unresolved tensions still sitting in front of us. Between George's uncertain road to recovery, Hannah's unclear motives, a love triangle that has now become a love rectangle with Elliot's arrival, and Cole's brand new racing storyline pulling him somewhere completely different than anyone expected, Season 3 has an enormous amount to work through in just 10 episodes. What are you most nervous about heading into Season 3? Do you think Hannah is actually here to make things right, or does she want something from the family? Let me know your predictions in the comments. That's everything confirmed and everything worth theorizing about heading into my life with the Walter Boys Season 3. Some of this is officially confirmed by Netflix and the show's own creator, and some of it is our own theory built on those confirmed details, and we'll always be clear about which is which. If this breakdown got you even more excited for August 6th, consider subscribing, because the moment any new trailer or casting update drops, we'll be covering it here first.